Boys and girls. All right, about the Usatrains motorblock, and as I've said before, I don't use anything else because I love these blocks to bits. They're sturdy, they pull like nothing else, they pull really, really well. And I've had absolutely zero comebacks on them. Now, there is one little problem that it does have, though, that really, I think, takes stuff away from a model, and that's this floppy bit in the front. Now, I can understand they reckon that this block can take a 8-foot diameter bend. Now, 8-foot diameter, that is ridiculously small. I mean, that's what, 1.5 meter radius or whatever. Now, originally, when we started Cape Gauge 1, the rule was that we do minimum 2.3 meter radius, which is the largest, it's radius 5 LGB. For a couple of reasons, because we've got body-mounted couplers. The couplers will never cope unless you make them bogie-mounted, which we were not prepared to do because that needs to alter the look of the wagons. And just know, some of the other guys mentioned elsewhere in some of my other videos that, you know, G-scale trains. This is Cape Gauge 1. It's larger scale, but it's 2 scale, like Gauge 1 is. Was the whole idea with the Cape Gauge 1 thing. So we don't give a damn about 1.5 meter radiuses and stuff. I'm running in my layout room here, we're running 3.7 meter radius, which is 12, 13, 14 foot radiuses. So I haven't got a problem with this floppiness thing here. Now, what inevitably happens with this floppy, they got this little spring that sits in a slide. Wait, let me see if I got a slide. Yeah. Sits in a slide that's under the chassis, and that's got a screw that screws. You see, there's a hole there, boom, boom, boom. That screws into there, and then into the slide at the top here, and that's supposed to hold this whole thing down and give traction to this axle. But let me tell you one thing. I've got a Usatrains SD70 here, and I've checked on that one. By the time that this spring picks up slack, this wheel's off the track. Yeah, so I didn't even bother with him. You know, I normally take that off. I put a weight on top here, normally 45 gram weight, just to give it some oomph, and that was it. However, I mean, to pick this up off the track, if you do that, you see that it lifts up. That is, I can do that with my nail. See how loose it is? It's absolutely ridiculously loose. So, if you look at it that way, this is basically a Bobo block because only these 2 axles work. Now, how I found this out was on one of the older motor blocks that I serviced in the week. I thought, let me have a look inside this block on one of the blue locos I've got, which was one of the first ones, just to see wear and tear inside or whatever. Look, the thing has only done about 50 hours or 60 hours, so there was no wear inside it, absolutely nothing whatsoever. I could see, though, that on these axles, this and that one, the chrome starts wearing off on the wheel. Nothing here. This thing just runs with. There's nothing. So I thought, yeah, you know what? If you look at where the pivot sits, this goes over like that. Your pivot sits right there. So my pivot point presses here. If this is a solid thing, the top, and you can make that floppy straight, that will solve your problem. So I laser cut this piece out of 2mm. It goes over there like that. You use the Usatrains screws. These 2 here, you just put a slightly longer screw in. You put that down there, and you tighten it up. Make sure that this is straight. Look, there is a little bit. You got to make the hole there 3mm, that it can't play on that hole and do that. You know, so you got to have it nice and tight. which is what I did. And I went to this. Here's a fully dressed one now with all its vacuum pipes and feeder pipes and everything on it. That's ready to go in under the train. You see, this is the sand pipes as well. Now, that's all I need to do on this one still is the sand pipes, and then it can go on. Be painted, and then I've got 2 motor blocks ready. There's another thing I want to show you, Oaks, as well. Some of the guys asked on the large scale forums, you know, what is the best clip to put on there? And the easy question is there is no clip that fits there. Yeah, you get the DigiKeys ones and all that. They all loose. They all come out one time or the other. You know, there's only one way. Take the cover off and solder the wire like that inside there. Solder it inside there and put the cover back. It's a bit of a schlep, bit of a mission, but it works. Now, with this rigid block that I've got here, if you lift it, now I got to lift. So that axle now, you can hear just by the way, just by the noise it makes, that there's all the weight presses down here without anything on the pivot. So now, if there's weight here, it will disperse it over the 3 axles here. Now, like I said to you before, if there's more weight in the nose, it tends to press on the pivot forward, and it will give this will now pull on all 3 axles. So I decided that I'm going to build the orange one for myself, the orange class 34 GM. I'm going to build that for myself because I have started with it, and you know, I'm not too far away. Most of the paintwork's done. I'm going to build that for me, and then put these blocks in and make it scale weight 8.2 kgs, which I don't know where the hell I'm going to put it, but I'm busy with a plan. So let me show you what's going to happen here. Some of you guys asked about the chassis. You see, there's the ladder frame chassis welded. Now, this sits on the chassis itself. It gets bolted, drilled and bolted in. And then this here is the fuel tank with a speaker. This is a FRS 7. I want to try something. I normally use a FRS 8, which is a slightly bigger speaker than this. I just want to see what this does. And then I put the 10mm square bar in there as well. But I'm thinking of doing it in the front and the back there, you know, just for extra weight. Maybe put a couple of extra ones in so I can get this to weigh around about 650, 700 grams on the tank. And then the chassis is about 1.8. You know, if I can get the chassis to be 3 kgs, I can ballast the rest into the body. It's a hell of a big, I mean, that's the body. It's a big body. Larger than anything or the other ones I built. So I could put a lot of ballast in there. All right, but I'm wandering off. I just actually wanted to show you about the motor blocks, and I'll keep you posted. I will do the scale test, and maybe we can do a tug of war. And then I'll put some amps behind it, and we pop them down on the track inside the room there, and we do the old versus the new. Now, how does that sound? That'll be exciting. You know, we blow something up, it's for a YouTube sensation. So I promise you a tug of war as soon as this one runs. And I'll put it, look, we're not going to put anything through our asses. We'll just see who pulls what with basically the weight difference and this axle biting. That'll be interesting stuff. So yes, I will do a tug of war for you within the next month or so when I've got that other loco running. And we got a lekker stretch there and we can see what they do. All right, dude, so that's basically that. I have a plan. Okay, boys, we speak later. Have a lovely weekend. Cheers.